Hello and welcome to the fourth lecture in the exercise section of chapter 22. Now here we want to handle this type of question, and this question will be a nice revision of what we will do in most of the data science problem. So I will first do it myself, and then we will ask the same question to the large language model, and we have at present selected OpenAI, and therefore it will be OpenAI model, that is ChatGPT, that will be answering that. But first, let me do it myself. So recursive feature elimination we want to explain, and for that we are using linear regression model, because you know that recursive feature elimination process requires some model. It may not always be linear regression. You can select random forest, or you can select other thing to select most important features. So that means this is what part we are doing at present: feature selection. So that is introduction to feature selection techniques, in which there are three techniques actually. One is called filter method, another is called wrapper method, and the third is called embedded methods. Okay, and we have done a detailed discussion of all these three, so it is fine. But this, as a part of exercise, we want to do that same feature selection using recursive feature elimination from even the data set. Also they have given that use this data set, that is use load diabetes data set from sklearn library. Okay, so here is the question: use RAC with linear regression model to select most important features. How many most important, that they have not given, so you can take as per your desire from load diabetes dataset provided by sklearn. Provide the Python code and explain how RFE determines which features to keep. Now everything is simple as such, but we will first do manually import numpy as np, import pandas as, and if you just press this tab character many times, it helps. Then from sklearn, because the dataset is to be taken from sklearn library, and dot, and then I press the tab character. So sklearn dot datasets d I press. So import load underscore diabetes. Again, if I press the tab character here, mostly yes, it will show. Okay, so that is load underscore diabetes from sklearn dot model selection. Again, I just do sklearn and m. So it will show me various options with that. Among them, one is the model selection, and from that I will choose the standard method, that is import train underscore test underscore split. Okay, so that gives me that train test split. Then one more thing which I will require is from sklearn dot, I think from feature, no, not feature, but yeah, feature selection. From feature selection, import. Again, I press the tab character, and it shows me various options. So here I have RAC. Okay, then from they are explicitly asking me that use linear regression model. So from sklearn dot, press the tab character and L, linear model, import. If I press the tab character, linear regression. Okay, so maybe it's not there. Okay, so capital L perhaps. Yes, linear regression. I think this much should be enough. One is data sets, model selection, train test, feature selection. Okay, so this is in first stage, importing library. I am doing it as if we are doing the revision of entire workflow. So import libraries. That is always the first step. Second step always is load data. So loading data is here from load data sets. Load diabetes you have already done. So that is itself your data. So data is equal to load underscore diabetes. If I want to show you that data set, then I can show also data. Though I am not interested in data, I am interested in its feature matrix, and okay, so it just shows sklearn.model and this kind of database. Okay, fine. So, well, parenthesis, because this would be required, otherwise it will not. Now if I show you, then it will show the data. So data is shown, target is one array of like this, and the feature matrix or feature names are these, right? So sex, BMI, BP, S1, S2, etc. So I am not interested in data. I am just interested in X and Y. So X is equal to data dot data, and Y, small y, is equal to data dot target. Now, if you want to be extra cautious, then you can just check by printing them. I clear that output, and instead of that, say here is my X and here is my Y. Though later on I will delete those cells. Okay, sorry, first I have to execute the previous one, and then, so this is my X feature matrix, and this is my Y, that is response variable. Okay, so I will delete them. That means at least X and Y are correctly populated. Once X and Y are created, what else is left? If you see this diagram, then this much stage is done. So obviously now I have to do train test split. Okay, so next stage is train test split. And for that, what you will do is four things are obtained that we know. One is X train, then X underscore train. That is normally whatever symbols are used, it is better to use that only. X underscore test. Y should be small. Y underscore train, comma Y underscore test. Okay, is equal to. How to do that? You have already imported train test split. So use that train underscore test underscore split, and it takes how many arguments? It takes feature matrix as argument. It takes the target response variable as argument. It takes the test size. That is how many, what fraction you want to keep. And even if you forget to specify test size, it will take some default test size, and it takes some random initializer, right? So that is random state, just for the sake of reproducibility. So any value can be written. It is not, we write sometimes 42, but that instead of 42 this time, just for the sake of clarity, that it is not required always to be 42. I am taking random state 23. So that is fine. So this is executed. Let us execute. If some coding error, etc. is left, then it will be created. Now again, if I want to be extra cautious, then I can just for sake of safety do it like this: X train, then X underscore test, then small y underscore train, and then small y underscore test. Okay, and at that time, why that underscore? I think one key is weak in my keypad, right? So X train, right? X test. Okay, fine. Then Y train and Y test. So 80% data is in train set, and 20% data is in test set. Okay, so that is what you are getting here. Fine. And again, clear. In fact, I will delete the cells themselves. I don't need the train and test separately. Now, how that RSE model was created for feature? This when you want to do this feature selection using RSE, then what do you do? Then first create a linear regression object. That is linear regression model. Okay, so LR is equal to, now here you can create, because you have imported, so linear regression model is just these only. Okay, and LR is created. Now once linear regression is created, then you have to use it in the RSE to initialize an RSE object. RSE is equal to capital RSE into LR, and the number of features is equal to 5. Okay, so just 5 I am writing randomly because they have not specified. Select most important features. So I am specifying that 5 features. Okay, so okay, but maybe I think here the argument should be properly written. Okay, that is name of this argument. Now I forgot that name. So I can always do that question mark thing and all that. But let me run. Mostly it should run without error. Then fine. No, it takes 2 positional argument, but 3 were given. Okay, so any one I have to give as a keyword argument. Then I think it will be n features to select. That is how it is. Okay, so n features to select. It is a tedious thing, so I forgot it, and therefore I looked it up in the documentation, and now I think it will not throw error. Yes. So now my RSE object is created because the feature elimination object is created. What will be my next step? I will fit that object. Okay. So RSE dot fit underscore transform, that will be on fitting will be done on what? Then it will be done on X train and Y train. In fact, fit underscore transform also will not be required. Just fit, right? So X underscore train. Here you can use X train scaled if you have scaled it. I have not scaled it, so I am using without scaling. But Y is never scaled, so Y train, right? So RSE dot fit. So that I have done that fitting. And once fitting is done, now my RSE is there, estimator, linear regression, and it shows me this kind of model. Now from which I just have to find what are the selected features. Okay. So selected features would be, actually selected features are just found by one simple thing, RSE dot support underscore. Okay, this way. But they will just give you the some numbers. Okay, I don't want numbers, I want the names of those columns. So that is why I will write something in the preceding of to that RSE dot support underscore, and that is X dot columns. X is what? My feature matrix. Okay, and therefore it will fetch the column names from my feature matrix, and it will give here. Now this is the whole result. Now I can store this whole result into anything. So we always do the real programming this way, that right side is written first and then cell selected features. Okay, so that are my selected features, and then I may print them. Okay, in what order they are important if you want, then uh, ranking ranks is equal to RFE dot ranking underscore. Okay, that will give me ranks, and then you just print the cell features, selected features. Now I'm not even bothering to write the print statement and everything. That is fine. Instead, I just will write it this way, right? So these are selected feature x dot columns. The numpy nd array object has no attribute columns. Why? It should be correct. Okay, maybe. What is the issue here? Then okay, if it is numpy array is not having that columns, then I can do one thing before this step, or before this step itself, here only. I can convert this into pandas data frame, pd dot data under data frame. In the data frame, I have to use D capital and F capital for converting into data frame. And then I convert into xtrain, xtest, then I have to do all these steps again, then this, and now I think that error will not come. Yes, at least it is not coming, thankfully. And this because numpy array is easy to convert into data frame. So these are the selected features. Okay, but it is not giving me column name, it is giving me column number. Okay, so perhaps still I will have to do something, and it gives me ranks of all the features. So better thing is, one thing I can do is I can print my x just above this. So what was my x, so that I can see those columns, right? So it is 0 1 2 3 only. Now why it is not giving column numbers, that is also an issue. Because okay, that means because I have taken my data from the diabetes data set, so it will not put the column names automatically. I have to specify the argument. So x is equal to data dot data columns is equal to data dot columns or data dot feature underscore names. Okay, so that is how you can perhaps add the column. Let us again re-execute everything. You can see that yeah, at least column names are now coming. Okay, and now if you do selected features, these are my selected features: BMI, BP, S1, S2, and S5. So top 5 we have taken, therefore it has selected these as the top 5 feature, and the ranks are also, ranks will remain same. Okay, so that you can check that BMI and BP, their ranks are 6 and 2. Maybe what way it has ranked, that you don't know. Okay, because 6 and 2 looks like behind in the rank, but I think that is actually higher ranks are selected. So BMI, BP, then BP has 2 maybe. So I think these are not in proper order. Okay, forget about that ranks, but at least it has given me these are the selected features. Now you can see that I made some here and there some silly mistakes. For example, I forgot to write column name. I forgot to write this convert this into a data frame, and such mistakes were detected at much later stage. Here when I try to find the columns, then x it gave me error that x, if you don't convert it into data frame format, then x would be numpy array, and it says that nd array does not have any attribute of called columns, right? So let us see if I ask the same question to my chat GPT. You will see that how big improvement it is in the productivity. That previous one took I think 20 minutes, right? Maybe that is because I am a little bit now too used to of using AI coding tool. I mostly do by cursor, but that's okay because directly copying the code instead of that cursor will also do the same thing. I will show one or two examples of doing the same thing by cursor also, but that's why the habit of typing and everything is forgotten, and perhaps now it will never be required also. Okay, because these IDEs which are based on AI, they are so powerful. IDEs are coming. For example, Jupyter was very well known IDE, and now it has integrated AI in it, and I just asked that question, see how quickly it is answering, and it is giving me code. So this was my effort. Okay, and this is now below which I can paste ChatGPT effort. Okay, so it explains first RFE. What is RFE? I did not explain because while theory was discussed at that time, I had explained it in much detail. So fine, but we will discuss some of this very quickly. First, let me make it appropriate for better representation, right? Okay. Now, then it gave me the code also. Okay, and this is the code. Here in the Jupyter there is this copy. I just copy it. And you can see one or two libraries which are not required. Perhaps I imported one or two extra libraries. No, that train test split is obviously required. Okay, so fine, it has done its work. Yeah, train test split. See, it did it without using train test split. It just initially X and Y are created. It did not even convert X into pandas data frame. It did it by different method. Okay, and directly the X and Y RFE was fitted. RFE dot fit was used on X and Y only directly. That are these only, and not on the data frame format of it. Okay, and nowhere X and Y were splitted into X train, X test, and all that. Okay, so that was not done. Now it gives me this kind of answer, and selected features are BMI, BP, S1, S2, and S5. Okay, so I got BMI, BP, S1, S2, and S5. So at least the methods were different, but both of us got good and similar answer, and ranking was also same. 6 2 and then 4 times 1 and 4 3 1 5, and here 6 2 4 times 1 and 4 3 1 5. So I think that is also fine. Now here it also gives explanation of the code. So if you want to keep it, I can paste it, but it is anytime available. So you can take any example. Okay, let me paste it so that it will remain with you. In every chapter, I will not do exercise. You will have to do exercise. Okay, but you are allowed to use this tools, generative AI tools. And one question which many times a student asks is that what if my job, that is my employer, does not allow it? Now, I would say that that is very regressive way of thinking if your employer is not allowing it. And to be very blunt, I should say that okay, try to do by manually and try by practicing, and then lead code problems and all those things are there. So you do it and make a practice and then come up with your code. But compared to any of your code, this gives much better code, nicely commented, and all everything is proper. For example, here you will see every time one space is left, that is that PEP 8 criteria. So this code and my code are totally different. My code is in different things in different cells like this, and I have not left any line, but it follows the PEP 8 standards, Python PEP 8 standards, right? In fact, I can even, while asking for the code, I can even tell it that generate the doc string for above code. Here only I can ask, say generate doc string for above code. Then I just press this, and you will see that now it generates a very production grade code. Now if you want to generate this code, it took 4 minutes for me to just write its code, copy paste it, and explanation of recursive feature model, everything, explanation of code, everything, right? And here this is explanation of RFE, but I should provide somewhere it gave the explanation of code also, right? No, it has not given explanation of RFE. And so what that I had taken at the beginning, right? Okay, so this here I should take one cell, make it a markdown. This is before the code part as per the ChatGPT's answer. So I want to be honest to what ChatGPT gave as answer. That is why I'm taking all this trouble. Okay, that it gave this part before giving code, then it generated the code, and so in this part it says that let us implement this, then it implemented it, right? And then last part it gave this explanation of feature. So this is now duplicated, I remove it. Okay, so this is how the answer of ChatGPT is structured. So it is much more structured answer. And now if I put this even, that is doc strings, okay, so then I can even replace this code by its better code. You can see that initially a detailed comment is provided. What are various attributes in the data set? That is explained. Then here each thing is well commented, and between successive corresponding lines, appropriate 2 blank lines, etc. are left. Indentation is perfect. So everything is as per the PEP 8 standard. Okay, and you can see it is much better code. Just within around 4-5 minutes, you can get your work done. So if you have put sufficient efforts earlier, then why will you do all this again and again? Provided you have put sufficient efforts earlier, and provided you can do manually at least a rough version of this, and at least the rough steps should be in your mind, that first I will import library, then I will take x is equal to data.data and y is equal to data.target, then I will split, then I will create linear regression object, then I will create RAC object using that linear regression object and some certain number of features to select. I will fit my RAC object on X train and Y train. I can also directly fit on X and Y. Okay, and then I will use the RAC dot support underscore for selected features and RAC dot ranking underscore for ranks. Right? Suppose you did not understand this rank, that you got these features and this ranking, or according to each code, ChatGPT code, you got this, right? So you can just ask, I got answer this in inverted commas from your code, from above code. I do not, or I did not understand, or rather, please explain how ranking is decided. Please is as such not required, but some people have reported, I have myself never encountered, but some people have reported that if you continuously go on taking work from large language model, then sometimes it gives random answers after prolonged 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of activity. I never experienced that. Okay, so because in fact, I also experienced once in when I was using the earlier versions of ChatGPT, and I was using tkinter library, and I asked him with first question, second question, third question, at least 20 questions on tkinter for GUI creation, and then I asked one more question, and it just said that enough of tkinter. Now please ask question on some other topic. But that was much earlier, when it was maybe I think ChatGPT 2 or maybe 3 I think version. Okay, thereafter 3.5 came, 4 came. So, and this is 4.0. Okay. Now here it is written specific ranking indicates or how the ranking is done. Okay, so it is recursive feature elimination. Then I am not pasting everything, but I am just pasting this much part, that features are ranked by the order in which they are eliminated. Okay, and this much part. So I can add that much as a new markdown cell for my explanation. So now this becomes your personal tutor. If you did not have this difficulty, then you will not ask this question, right? But you may ask some other question if you will have some other difficulty. Similarly, other person can have some totally different difficulty. After this code and everything is given and result is obtained, then he may ask a different question. So depending upon what you don't want, and it will give a separate answer to each and every person. So it is kind of having a personal tutor or a personal mentor at your disposal. Okay, so you can understand that how important that can be, because it completely frees from the dependence of learner on availability of mentor. So I just kept essential part. Throughout this process, features are ranked in the order they are eliminated, because there is recursive feature eliminated. The features that remain in the model until the end, that is the most important features, are assigned rank of 1. Now I think everything is clear, because if you see my data set had these features. Okay, so I put a comment that as in the commented version here. Okay, so now these were my features. So this remained until the end. So that is 0, 1 and 2. So 0th feature was age 1, and these starting from these 4 remain till the end. So they are the most important. They were not eliminated during recursive feature elimination. Then these were eliminated. Okay, they were eliminated 3rd and 4th, but they were eliminated. Okay, fine. And these also one remain, the second last feature. So that is S5. So BMI, BP, S1, S2, and even I think one more is S5, right? And these are the most important 5 features. This and this. Okay. Now interpretation of that features is very clear just by reading one sentence. Okay. Now there is no need to see all this lengthy explanation. Just one sentence is enough. That is, I am even removing this. The most important features are assigned 1, and the features are ranked in the order they are removed in the process. That's all. One sentence and everything is clear. Okay. Fine. Now, next question is this. Describe the use of lasso regression for feature selection. Provide Python example using load Boston. Now, instead of load Boston, I said that load Boston data, if you try to load, it will create issues because it has been removed because some ethical problems were found. So now sklearn does not allow to load Boston dataset. So instead, I am using load California dataset, and because my purpose is just to find significant predictors for house prices. Okay, so and choice of regularization parameters alpha, that also I showed. Now, if you remember, we did the discussion, and I put different values of alpha, and we plotted the variables importance plot. And at that time, how as I went on changing alpha, the variable importance plot showed sometimes 2 features, sometimes 3 features, like that. Okay, sometimes 5 features, and so on. So I am this time not doing myself, but rather directly asking it. Load California dataset. So those who have written version, please correct in your written note that instead of load Boston, make it load California. Rest of the thing is, so it is even explaining what is lasso and how it is done and all those things, right? I don't need it. I have explained. I directly write this code and discussion. I can ask it to do one thing, that can you modify above code to plot, to draw, okay, to plot feature importance bar chart, so that when I play with the value of alpha, then you should be able to see that how value of alpha changes the important features. Okay, so now I will use this modified code, and this is my modified code, right? And this is the code, and some little bit error has come. Fetch California housing is not defined. So I think I need to import it, and it forgot to import, or perhaps earlier, yeah, earlier it had imported. So next time when I gave the plotting part, then it did not bother to import again. Okay, so that's okay. So then now this is the variable important plot. Median income is the most important, house age is the most important, and latitude is most important. This is when alpha is equal to this 0.1. Now I just change this alpha and make it alpha is equal to 0.05, and let me see if I get some changes in the. Now you can see these are the important features. So lasso does what that I have shown, that in the equation of linear regression, in the equation of linear regression, that is this y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3, suppose, where x1, x2, x3 are features, it tries to make the coefficient of certain features 0. That is what lasso tries to do. And that alpha decides how much harsh penalty will be imposed. So initially, my alpha was at that time 1, and at that time only 2 features were visible. So it was reasonably high, or quite high penalty, right? But next time my alpha is, I made it 0.05. So when it was 1, penalty was high, and therefore, say out of several features, suppose there are up to x6 many features were there, then only 2 remained. Let me again make that 1 just for the sake of, so 0.1 if I make, then only 2 features remain, 3 features, median income, house age, and the latitude, right? But if I reduce the penalty, then instead of out of 6, instead of 3, maybe more feature will remain. So that means lesser penalty means more features will remain non-zero. So now these are the 4 features. If I still reduce this regularization parameter 0.03, so then still more features, and so on, right? We are going to do detailed discussion of that lasso, but I just had to find it out just as a proof that we had done that discussion already. Here I had to do it again just because it is given in the question that do it and also discuss. The question was like this, that do recursive feature elimination and explain how RFE determines which features to keep. That we have done, but somewhere it was already explained what is the role of, also asked what is the role of explain how RFE determines which features to keep. So that we have done, right? Then maybe somewhere it was asked actually that no, it was for this California dataset. So this is diabetes dataset, but for fetch California dataset, where is the question that I am asking? I think I removed the question itself. That is the problem. Yes, so it was asked in short. I think I have pasted the question somewhere here. Yeah, so I will put it once again. Describe the use of lasso. Let me create a new markdown cell and put the question, right? So describe the use of lasso. And it was given, describe how the choice of regularization parameter affects the feature selection. So that is what I showed, that as you go on decreasing the regularization parameter, the penalty term goes on becoming weaker and weaker. A penalty becomes weaker and weaker, and that means more and more coefficients beta 0, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 4 become non-zero. Non-zero means that feature which is associated with it, x1, x2, x3, x4, that remains as a significant feature. And if I make my penalty very high, I started with 0.1. At that time, 3 features were there. Okay, so let me make my penalty 0.2. Then you will see that just 1 feature is there. So at that time, it will select only the most important feature. So such an equation of multiple linear regression would be reduced to such a simple equation of this y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1. That's it. Only one feature x1, where x1 is equal to median income. So that is the role of lasso. Okay. Yeah, the question was here. Okay, fine. So I will now delete it. I have already put it. Okay, then model evaluation and validation technique, and 11 and 12 this we'll do in the next lecture. Thank you.